So what you do is you take it all together. And by the way, we have in the Gospels that when Jesus is arrested, there's a lad in linens that they grab him and he runs naked through the streets of Jerusalem. Well, who's running naked? It's a kid. No grown-up is running around in see-through linens and running naked. He's wearing a pajama. When they come to arrest the dad, he gives them the slip and runs naked through the streets. It's a sad story. It's right in the Gospels. Who is this person running naked through the streets of Jerusalem when they come to arrest Jesus? Obviously, it's not a grown-up. It's not an apostle. But the Gospels think it's important enough to tell us that story. Obviously, or suggestively, probably, perhaps, it's a son. So I'm not making this up. At the Last Supper, somebody is leaning, cuddling against Jesus' chest. I don't know about you. In my house, only my kids cuddle with me. So we have enough clues in the Gospels to separate. You know, he says, "Mother, behold thy son," on from the cross. Now, you know, he could be talking about himself, but that sounds like a strange thing to tell your own mom, Mary, "Look at me." It's like almost like adding insult to injury. You know, you wouldn't want to tell mom, "Mom, look at me," as I'm dying on the cross. But you would tell Mary, your wife, "Take care of our kid." Now, John doesn't say that, okay, but everyone agrees, at least academics do, that there's later theology. And there's good reason that the initial Jesus movement would want it to have covered up a son. So again, you take the whole cluster of evidence together. Now, if there was no talk or mention of a beloved disciple, if there was nobody cuddling with Jesus at the Last Supper, if there was no naked lad running through the streets of Jerusalem, maybe you'd say, well, it's a stretch. There's absolutely no hint of a possible heir. But that's not the case. There is a hint. And in fact, Professor James Charlesworth from Princeton Theological Seminary, he arrives at the conclusion, based on text alone, text and history, that the beloved disciple is Judah. Judah, you know, Thomas Judas, Thomas. And Dr. Charles Pellegrino, based on the archaeology, arrives to the same conclusion. Why? Because Thomas, one of the apostles, that's not a name. That's a Hebrew word for te'om, the twin. And Pellegrino thinks it really stands for junior, the twin, you know, the little Jesus. Because te'om, Thomas, is Hebrew. Now, well, maybe it means something else. Well, no. We know from the Greek he's called Thomas Judas Didymus. Didymus means twin. So his name translated into English, this Thomas, the Apostle Thomas, his name is Thomas Judas Didymus. His name is Twin Judah Twin. Twin, with a name in the middle. And what's the name? It's Judah. And what do we find in the tomb? Judah, son of Jesus. Nobody's called twin, right? So maybe what we have in this word twin, Thomas, is a code word for junior, for the son. Judah the son, the little Jesus. And that's exactly what we find in a tomb. A little, it's the smallest ossuary. It's a kid, somewhere 10, 11, 12, 13, you know, considered a man in those days, you know, bar mitzvah, but still a kid by our standards. Smallest ossuary next to Judah, son of Jesus.